Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We are here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. And I'm Keeney, and I'm going to go through my predictions for Night of Champions taking place this Saturday night in Saudi Arabia. I think it starts at a good time for UK viewers, and it starts kind of in the afternoon. So it's one we can watch live, which is a nice always a nice quirk of these Saudi Arabian shows. So yeah, looking forward to it. And we've got a 7-match card, so not too big, which is kind of what Triple H has been doing with his PLE since he took the reins. Even if Vince is back in with a shout now, it looks like this feels like the sort of show Triple H would book. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe here on YouTube. Helps with the algorithms, helps us create more content, and also follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle as well. We run a predictions league every year. We're 6 months into this year, so about halfway through, and the predictions league is tight. So for those that have already predicted, keep going. There's a t-shirt to win at the end of the year, a WWE t-shirt of your choosing. RM Punk won last year, so just check out our socials for a post from him where he posted with his shirt that he won as of the predictions. So definitely worth getting involved. And it's just a bit of fun, even if you join now. I mean, there's still a chance to win because no one has run away with it yet. So yeah, every chance of winning. But speaking of winning, let me get into who I think is winning the matches at Night of Champions. I'm going to go just in the order I have it here on Wikipedia. So Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus is the first match in a singles. In what is quite interesting, we've got 3 women's matches here on the show, which, the big thing about Saudi Arabian shows previously, or especially at the start, was there was no women at all. And then you had 1, I think you had 2 maybe at the last one, but to have 3 out of 7 is a big step forward. So a lot of criticism of WWE going to Saudi Arabia, but what they've done with women's wrestling in Saudi Arabia is something I think that deserves a little bit of credit, because I do think they've made big progress with that. So I think that's worth mentioning. In terms of this match, I think the build's been brilliant. Genuinely, I think it's been the best built match so far. I think Trish, since she's been here, has been amazing. So good. Probably the best female heel we've seen for a little while. Brilliant stuff when she has a go at Becky Lynch's daughter. It's just so heel. And I guess the question for this one is this match going further? Are we getting a rematch at SummerSlam or Money in the Bank? Or, is there more down the line for this one? If there is, then it makes sense for Trish Stratus to win this match. If there isn't, and this is a one and done, then surely Becky's winning. There is the X factor of Lita in this, who was taken out by Trish, and that hasn't really, I think it's kind of mentioned a little bit, but will Lita come out and help Becky win? Or are we going to get a situation where Lita actually turns on Becky as well, and then you have Lita and Trish as a heel duo? I am torn on this one. I think I'm going to go Trish. Or am I? Does Trish make sense? No, I'm going to go Becky, but this is a tough one. I'm really torn on this one. I'm going to go Becky Lynch here. There is a way they could still carry this one if Becky wins, but I'm just trying to picture the match. I'm trying to figure out a way, because realistically, in a one-on-one singles match between these two, Becky Lynch should win 10 times out of 10 because she's the regular competitor. She's the best women's wrestler in the company, or the top booked women's wrestler in the company. So it makes complete sense for her. And she's been beating Damage Control for the last 8 months or so. So it doesn't feel logical that Trish wins, unless there is that Lita factor, or some other dastardly tactic she uses. But I'm going to go Becky Lynch. I think that's the most likely outcome, in my opinion. It's actually the next women's match is the next one I've got here. It is Rhea Ripley v Natalya, the two Raw superstars competing for the SmackDown Women's Championship, which would ever not annoy me. I just can't believe I haven't addressed that yet. But I mean, this is the most obvious prediction of the lot. Rhea Ripley is going to beat Natalya. That is a fact. There is literally zero chance Natalya wins. There is less chance of Natalya winning than there was Zelina Vega winning at Backlash. So this is the most obvious match on the card by a mile. And there are some obvious ones, which isn't always a bad thing. I mean, I think, let's say, I think Natalya works these Saudi Arabian shows quite a lot. I think she's well respected by the company, and whether it's like a thank you to Natalya, whether the Saudi, Prince, whatever, is a big fan of Natalya, whatever it is, I think this is why she's the challenger at this show. But it is just for that. She'll probably put on a good match. Natalya does quite often put on good matches. But Rhea Ripley is going to win. And also the build has been non-existent, really. It's not. I kind of forgot it was even a feud they were going for. Next up is Bianca Belair v Asuka, the two SmackDown superstars fighting for the Raw Women's Championship. Equally as stupid. This one's so there's two things at play here that I'm kind of in my head, and I've got to work out which way I go. Why would you have Asuka lose at WrestleMania to Bianca Belair to then have her beat her here? That seems like an odd decision for me. But then hasn't Bianca just like passed the threshold to become the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion? And so that would be, you could say that's a reason why they waited till now to have Asuka win the belt. But again, I just don't think the build's been there. I don't know who beats Bianca Belair, but I don't think it's Asuka here. I think Asuka could have done it, and I think she could have done it at Mania with a better build. But yeah, for me, I don't really see Asuka winning this one. So I'm going for another retention there. So that's two retentions of the first two title matches. And actually, the next one is another title match, Gunther v Mustafa Ali, which again, we're talking about the build for Natalya and Rhea being non-existent. The build here has been even less so, or equally as non-existent. I mean, Ali won the Battle Royal, which was a nice surprise, and I think it looked like a decent push for him. But then on the last week's Raw, he just got spoken down by Brock Lesnar, walked off kind of in a bit of a sulk. So Gunther is going to retain. He should, and I'm not against Ali as an opponent for him. So I think Ali's quite good at selling. I think this could be a decent match. I think Ali will get some offense in, and Gunther will chop him to death and destroy him, and that's fine. Not necessarily a pay-per-view worthy match, but that being said, just another win for Gunther to continue his dominant reign, and those title retentions add up, which I think is actually something that's never really mentioned on WTV very much, is how many defenses they have as champions. I think that is a worthwhile kind of way to judge how good a champion is, because Roman Reigns been champion for 3 years or however long it's been now, nearly 1,000 days, but how many title defenses has he had? It's a lot just because it's been 3 years, but it's also not. If he defended it every PLE for 3 years, that is impressive, but he hasn't. He's every other PLE or every third PLE, especially at the moment. So I think that's something that I would like to see incorporated more in WWE. In a good example of this being done really well is Orange Cassidy's run in AEW with the International Championship, where he is defended it every single week. I think I heard earlier he had like 20 plus defenses of that title, which like that is one of the most interesting title runs on TV right now is Orange Cassidy's International Championship. And it's a title that shouldn't mean anything to us because it's a new title. It hasn't really been explained about, you know, what it's about. You know, with the TNT title, is it like a tertiary belt, which feels odd decision, but Orange Cassidy has really built that belt and built his reign up, built himself up. And so, yeah, I think just the constant defenses, Gunther should defend at least once a month, just constantly keep defending it against the Allies, the Zigglers, whoever comes up, you know, and then he has the odd, you know, he's defended against Gunther and Sheamus, defended against Sheamus in the singles. He's had Nakamura, he's had big defenses as well, and you know they should also cover. There should be threats to his title, but in between the threats, there should also be these sort of defenses against people who will bump well for him and he will beat. So Gunther is beating Mustafa Ali. That's not for a prediction, that's a spoiler. And same with that Rhea Ripley one. That's not a prediction, that's a spoiler. Which actually leads me on very nicely to the next match. The undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, which is interesting they're called that. They're not called Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships anymore. I wonder, I do think, just before I get into it, I do think they're going to merge the tag belts, which I'm not against. I don't think I think I might have said on my draft video that there's the tag divisions on both sets of brands are good enough for there to be two belts, and it 100% is. But with the women's tag belts floating, I don't think it kind of makes logical sense to also have the men's tag belts floating as well. It's one of those, I think, whether they split them, whether they make it just one tag belt, I'm kind of fine with either. It's where they've got both blue and red. They need to just merge it into stop having these coloured belts. The red and blue just look stupid on different brands. Anyway, that was a little side note, but I mean, to be honest with you, it's Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn v Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. And when this match was announced, I was shocked, very shocked that they were going to do a tag team title match involving Roman Reigns, who has not been pinned for 3 years, 1,000 days, but longer than 1,000 days, surely, because he came back and won the belt after a bit of a hiatus away. So the last time he got pinned, was it Baron Corbin? Back in God knows when, you know, we're talking 2019, 2020. So Roman Reigns is not getting pinned in this match, because that would be mad. You can't pin Roman Reigns before he loses the belts. And also Solo Sikoa has been pinned once by Cody Rhodes in the build up to Mania. But apart from that, Solo Sikoa has beaten everyone he's fought. And that includes like Kevin Owens, Riddle, Drew McIntyre, although that might have been a no contest with Karrion Kross getting involved, if my memory serves me right. But he's got a few big wins, Sheamus, I think, under his belt. So it's not very often they once ever since he's been called up, they pinned Solo Sikoa. So when this match was announced, though, I did think, I was like, well, how are they going to do this? Because it doesn't really make sense for Roman and Solo to win the tag belts unless they win them and we get at SummerSlam, probably the next massive pay-per-view, we build up to the Usos v Roman and Solo, which is kind of where they're going, but you just don't want another title in the company locked onto Roman, because he already has taken up way too much real estate in the title division. He's already holding one hostage, can't hold another one. Well, he's holding two hostage. We've had to create a brand new one because he's holding two hostage. So I'm personally not in favour of Roman and Solo Sikoa winning this one, which is why I'm going to predict Kevin Owens and Sami to retain. Although, you say there is a possibility they do Roman and Solo v the Usos down the line for the titles, which I think would be a really cool feud for the tag belts. But again, that then means all of these other tag teams are just, you know, kind of nowhere near the tag titles. Whereas what I would like to see is KO and Sami go on as tag champs. All these other tag teams, we've seen Imperium, Judgment Day, kind of threaten. You got Pretty Deadly, New Up, Street Profits, Alpha Academy. There's so many Viking Raiders who all can have matches with Sammy and KO, and they can have a really cool run. And also, I think it's a bit soon for them to lose it, because their big story about winning it at Mania, the main event of Mania, then lose it, 2 months later, feels like a bit of a kick in the teeth, I think, for two guys who have deserved a decent title run. So I definitely want KO and Sammy, and I will predict KO and Sammy. And I would imagine the finish would involve pinning Solo Sikoa via an Usos interference, probably accidentally costing Solo the victory, because Roman also dedicated a tag team match to his uncles, and Sammy and KO KO actually did it to the Usos. So it's like a little interesting wrinkle in all this, and I do think the Usos are playing a big part in this. Then also, I spoke about how big it is for there to be 3 women's matches. It's also pretty big that Sami Zayn and therefore Kevin Owens are appearing on this show, because they've never appeared in Saudi Arabia before with the Syrian conflict. It was always one that Sammy would never do, and KO always backed his friends there. So the fact those two are here was another shocking factor when this match was announced. So it's interesting to see how well received they'll be. I'm sure they'll be well received, but it's just it's just another big moment, I think, for the company. But I'm going KO and Sammy to retain. And next up, we have got also, actually, the next match is Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar in the second of 3 main events, which is another stupid Vince McMahon. This feels like a very Vince McMahon thing, but whatever, it is ridiculous. You can't have 3 main events. They had 2 at Backlash, one of which was on last, one of which was on third to last. So there was a Bloodline tag match in the middle that wasn't the main event, but was in between 2 main events. Doesn't make any sense. You can't have 3 main events. So it's stupid. But anyway, we've got Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar here. And we've seen the WWE over the last couple of years, mainly with Seth, but they have trilogies of matches. They, we've spoken about loads on this podcast, but Seth Edge, Seth Cody, I think Seth Fiend maybe might be in a trilogy, maybe not, I don't know. But they've had a few trilogies, and it feels like this is where they're going with Brock and Cody. It keeps Cody out of the title hunt because his whole character is about the title. So you need to divert him whilst you do other things with the belts. And I think Brock's as good a diversion as you have in the company, realistically. So, and because Cody won the first match, I think Brock Lesnar is winning this second match. And then we go to a third at SummerSlam, seems the most likely destination. Maybe Cody's in Money in the Bank and Brock costs him, or he's in a qualifier on Monday and Brock costs him, or something. But I think that Brock Lesnar is winning here to set up a third match. I mentioned that sort of thing could happen with Trish and Becky as well. And I do think that is a possibility, but I definitely think here. I mean, I've said all that, and then Cody and Seth had a trilogy and Cody won 3 in a row. So who knows? But also, like, logically, Cody, the story is Cody's arm has been broken multiple times by Brock. He is literally not medically cleared to compete. He had to talk Triple H into letting him wrestle. So a not medically to compete Cody Rhodes cannot beat Brock Lesnar. A fully fit, like, all guns blazing Cody Rhodes beating Brock Lesnar is an achievement. A one-armed, not medically cleared to compete Cody Rhodes cannot beat Brock Lesnar. So I do think it would be a bit silly if he won, because the thing with Seth, was a bit silly, really, because he had a torn pec and whatever. And they didn't really damage Seth too much because Seth is that good. And it probably wouldn't damage Brock either. In reality, I just think this one would seem a bit silly because Brock is like the dominator of WWE. You know, obviously Roman, but Brock comes in, destroys people, leaves. That's all he does. So yeah, I do think it would be a bit of a mistake to have Cody Rhodes win this one. So I am therefore going Brock Lesnar. And in the last, the third of the main events, I actually don't think, I think Roman and Solo might go on last, is my prediction. I don't think Seth and AJ for the World Heavyweight Championship is the match I'm talking about. I don't think that will go on last, mainly because I really think they've made a bit of a mistake here. Whether I'm sure they knew about Seth Rollins' movie plans when they started this tournament, but it almost feels like they didn't, because Seth has been the obvious winner, I feel, from before the tournament was announced. We are all three of us here on Recharge have all sat here and said Seth Rollins is the most likely winner and is the deserved winner. And sometimes, you know, sometimes in wrestling, the obvious thing happens and people roll their eyes. But this is an instance where the obvious winner should be the winner. And it is the right decision for Seth Rollins to win this belt. The fact that he has got movie commitments puts that into doubt, definitely. I'm really, I've said before, I'm not keen on doing a brand split, making it abundantly clear that this title is a Raw title, and then having a SmackDown superstar win it just feels silly. Like it goes against, AJ should be going after Roman's title. That's what AJ should be doing if he wants a title. And then it just throws the brand split into absolute chaos, which it kind of already is. I think we saw Shotzi this week on Raw appear. She got drafted to SmackDown. It was on TV. She got drafted on the TV picks on SmackDown. She's just run out on Raw to help Raquel. When there's plenty of Raw females, they could have had team with Raquel for a one-off match. It wouldn't have been that big a deal, but yeah. So they've already ruined the brand split a little bit. Didn't I'll be mentioning Shotzi in the build up to this World Heavyweight Championship match, but there you go. But I think I might have said at the time, they didn't need to rush the build or the qualifiers for this match. They did it all on the first night of Raw and SmackDown after the draft. Straight away, one night, 2 triple threats and a singles. Now, you could have done that over 3 weeks. You could have had triple threat one week, triple threat next week, built up to the singles. And you build up with promos and whatever. You could have even done it over 3 or 4 weeks, and you could have the, you know, a promo segment in between the 2 triple threats and the main and the single. So they could have built up more, and they also would have given the people that want a bit more, I don't know if credibility is the right word, but just a bit more momentum. I feel like Seth and AJ both had the momentum week 1, and then they've kind of just slowly regressed a little bit, because Seth has an interview with Corey Graves on the last couple of episodes of Raw, and it's been really good. I've got nothing against his interviews. It's just to me, it's gone from being the number one thing on Raw. All of a sudden, it just feels less important than Brock and Cody, you know, less important than the tag team titles. It just feels, you know, 3rd or 4th most important match on the show. Trish and Becky's probably gone above it in terms of importance. And I just think that's a real misstep from WWE. I do feel like they should have made this title the inaugural champion, the fighting champion, as it's been, you know, pronounced. They should have made that the focus of the post-draft, and they haven't. They did night 1, and then they've put it on the back burner and let everything else go. Probably the reason they've done it is because Seth's not available to appear on Raw, so he has to record a video, then go off for a couple of weeks and record a movie. Which, you know, these things happen, but they would have known. Surely they would have known this before they announced the tournament. And then if you know that, maybe you don't have Seth win it. Maybe you give it, you know, well, Drew wasn't even in the tournament, but Finn Balor. You could have Balor and AJ as the title match and have Balor win, and have a period of Balor and Rhea, and then you maybe have Priest go after Gunter and, you know, do a Judgment Day thing. There's other stories you can tell. You don't have to go for Seth Rollins. And I just think, to me, it almost feels like they said, okay, Seth's our winner. That's why we're bringing this belt so Seth can win it. And then, like, just before night one of Raw, they were like, Seth just gone to them and said, by the way, I'm off to do a movie for a couple of weeks, so I won't be here. And they're like, oh shit, what do we do? Oh, we'll just do it all in one night, and then you can have 2 weeks off, and then we'll see you at Night of Champions. You win the belt, and then we'll see what happens from there. And I just think there were other ways around this, and you know, they know more than me, and I'm just speculating. It just feels. It feels like a misstep for me. And it's a real shame. So I was so excited when a new belt got introduced, the tournament got announced, and so much potential. And I think they have dropped the ball a little bit here. That being said, it'll be an absolute banger of a match. Absolute banger. Match of the night. I'm fairly sure this will be a match of the night. Will be superb. So yeah, that is it. That's the 7 matches predicted. I mentioned earlier on, but follow us on Twitter. Keep an eye out for our tweets, which will go out very soon, I'm sure, before tomorrow. We'll the shows tomorrow to get guys to predict these 7 matches and join our league. Chance to win a WWE t-shirt of your choosing. So definitely worth getting involved. We'll be back very soon with a reaction video to Night of Champions and just regular content. So make sure you're subscribed and like to the channel. And yeah, just keep an eye out, and we will see you guys very soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.